just in short, I want to say, if you don't know a lot about me, maybe you've never heard the Crisco Kid Block Party on Power 98.3. Maybe you've never been to Famous Churros or never went and got to experience our food in Sunny Slope. I'm a Texas boy. I have a lot of energy, and I'm excited to call Phoenix home for the last 4.5 years. I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm an uncle, I'm a boyfriend, fiance if I get lucky, and I'm a father to a 2-year-old son. And I'm just grateful to be here and for this opportunity, like I said. And it's very unfortunate that Mayor Kate Gallego and Merissa Hamilton have chosen not to be here tonight. And I thank you, Tim, for stepping up and being a part of this debate. It's important that we have these conversations. And again, it's just unfortunate, and it just shows what Mayor Kate Gallego has been about and what she is about. Thank you.
I have the honor of asking the first question, and I will direct it with the first answer to Mr. Carmona. Small businesses have been particularly hard hit this year. As mayor, how will you support the struggling businesses and help them build in the future?
Right. Small business is something that I take personally because myself as a small business owner have been affected by COVID-19. We opened Famous Churros, like I said, in Sunny Slope in December 2019. We had our grand opening January 2020. We applied for the grants. We applied for small business loans and assistance, and we were denied by the city of Phoenix. The criteria I guess we didn't meet the criteria at the time. And now tomorrow at City Hall, you're seeing that City Council is bringing back the CARES funding and seeing how they're going to revise how our communities get the funding now. Because what they put out, it didn't work. Because my restaurant, we had to close our doors. And I've talked to so many other people that are either on the verge of shutting their doors or that have already suffered. So my goal is to champion small business, the mom and pops, and the small business and local business, and bring them back, give them opportunity to be successful in Phoenix.
My name is Dana Cortez. I want to thank you for asking me to be a part of this incredible night here in Phoenix. My first question will go to Tim first. Hindsight is 2020. So, I mean, of course, we could all quarterback now, but if you could go back to March when we all found out about COVID, how would you have handled things differently as the mayor of Phoenix?
The unfortunate thing is that COVID-19 coronavirus, it was so new to where even our CDC, the World Health Organization, it was kind of touch and go. They were experimenting here. We should try this. We should try that. And I think the important thing for us to do is evolve. However, I will say that our city needed strong leadership. And I would definitely I'm sorry, some people aren't going to like this, but I would have mandated mask a little earlier. I would have chose to save as many lives as we could have. Look, I know unless you have a health condition, it may be hard or it may be uneasy for you, for some people, but this can save lives. People have proven that it saved lives, whether you may have COVID-19 or it could stop the spread of it. But unless you're physically unable to wear the mask, I would have definitely shown leadership, made that decision early, and kept moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to La Campesina. It's a quick question that I have for you guys. There's a plan to combat COVID-19 in 2021. What's the difference that you will apply?
Again, we're still finding cures. We're still developing vaccines. But what we can control, because we don't know when those vaccines will be released, but what we can control is opportunities for people in our communities to be tested. What we can do is focus on if contact tracing is going to be a thing, because most people I've ever talked to, when I asked, were you asked about contact tracing, were you asked who were you in contact with in the past couple of days? And everyone that I've talked to says no. We make a big deal about contact tracing, but who is actually doing it? Mm-hmm. So if contact tracing is actually going to be a thing, well, then we should probably start implementing it and doing it if that's what the science is saying. But I think it's very important that we follow the science, we follow compassion, we follow humanity, and do what's best for communities in moving forward in 2021, and at the same time encouraging and helping our small businesses and our communities grow and be successful as much as possible in 2021.
Hi, my name is Angelica Atondo. I'm a news anchor for Telemundo. My question is, will you consider providing funds to undocumented immigrants if another pandemic hurts the economy? Can we start with you?
Sure. And thank you for the question. Thank you for being here. undocumented workers, food workers, migrant workers have been key in the success of people still being able to get food during COVID-19. They've been the most underappreciated group of people, and they've kept this economy going and have received the least compensation. People have forgot about the undocumented workers and the migrant workers, the farm workers. These people are keeping the economy moving. They're keeping food on everyone here's table. However, I believe that we should also take care of the people that need the resources here, American citizens, Phoenicians that need those resources as well. So let's take care of home first, and then let's take care of the people that are taking care of us. So yes, the answer is I would find funds to keep the economy moving and take care of the people that continue to take care of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same question.
I agree also with Joshua said.
So my next question, Joshua, I'll begin with you. The Latino community has been disproportionately affected by COVID-19. In Arizona's Maricopa County, Latino residents have been twice as likely to become infected with COVID-19 as non-Latino residents. And in late May, the Navajo Nation had one of the highest infection rates in the country. What is your plan to not only educate this demographic, but also save lives?
Right. Very great question. There's no doubt, and the science has shown that COVID-19 has affected all communities of color, Black, brown, Native. And I think what we need to do is offer more resources to those communities. I kind of touched on it earlier where I said offer more testing, offer the rapid testing, and even education, because a lot of people, programs or the government will say, hey, this is here, but yet they don't take the extra step to show the people how to get to those resources. And we have to do a better job at that. There's no reason why whole families, there's a Valley family right here who has lost so many members of one family due to COVID-19. It's unacceptable. And because there wasn't the resources, they couldn't get the help that they needed immediately. It wasn't available. And I think we have to do that and target communities in the city to where we can get the help to the people that need it. I know plenty of families that didn't feel comfortable. You heard about early testing. There were lines. There were lines to get the testing, right? It was free. Everyone come out. But as soon as the federal government may have come in play, there was a lot of hoops to go through. They wanted a lot of personal information, and communities of colors just did not trust the government. And you have to rebuild that trust, because if not, they're not going to go. We're not going to go get the help that we need because of lack of trust.
This administration has shown or has created a racial tension. How do we have any plans to eliminate these racial differences in the community?
Unlike Mayor Kate Gallego, who unfortunately is not here to comment on this, and unlike Merissa Hamilton, I would think that the two of us have spent time in different communities across Phoenix, all colors, all races, all genders, all ages, whatever you want to say. And it seems that the other two candidates that aren't here today show exactly how committed they are to eliminating racial differences or bringing equality and inclusion. We talk about equality, we talk about diversity, but inclusion is missing. And I think these two candidates that didn't show up today, that shows exactly what their intentions are and how they operate their administrations, because they don't fully understand inclusion. They don't spend time in these communities except for when photo ops. Early in my campaign, I said we need a mayor that is for the streets and for the avenues. Some of these mayors don't even spend time in the avenues. So how do they know how to serve the people? In church this past Sunday, shout out to Linwood. I was a guest over there, and I appreciate that invite. But the guest pastor, the guest speaker, Sadi, I believe her name is, she spoke about love and talked about that in order to love fully and love properly, and I see the time sign, just let me get to this because this is important. In order to understand how to fully love someone, you have to have knowledge on how to love. You have to understand the people in the communities and how to fully love. So he's right. We do need a more family aspect, but we also need unity, because there's no unity without you and I. We have to understand each other so we can fully get to that point of conversations and actually acting on things that are going to benefit all of us. The two candidates that are not here show exactly where they stand and bridging the gap for the communities.
Maryvale area has more than 200,000 residents, and it has been one of the most unsafe neighborhoods to live in Phoenix for decades. How would you decrease crime rate in that area?
I know we're discussing Maribel right now, and I'll keep with that, but it's a valid point because I've lived in Houston, that's my hometown. And so from 3rd Ward to 2nd Ward to 5th Ward to Greenspoint, and even here in any city I've ever done radio in, it's about connecting with the parts of town that most people don't feel comfortable going into. And when you're connected with the city, you have that availability and that ability to talk to the people that are local, that are, I don't want to say in charge, but that control street life. Now, the mayor has to feel comfortable even being around these neighborhoods, A, and B, being open to have those conversations. Man or woman, I think, like he said, you know, if you built for that, or you come from that, or you understand that, like I kind of talked about earlier, then you can know how to have these conversations. Now, as far as Maribel, I've had conversations with not only Sheriff Pinzon, but also different Phoenix police officers, and we've talked about different areas of town. And one thing that I would like to encourage is getting more community policing, for police officers to actually know the people that are in their communities. That's so important. You're seeing programs that are like that in other major cities. For some reason, Mayor Gallego, and she's been in city council for so many years, and as mayor, hasn't really taken the time to be proactive on certain policy that some of the larger cities in the United States, we're the 5th largest city. Why are we barely doing a ban on carotid holds, chokeholds? Why are we barely bringing in civilian oversight committee, which I know we're going to get into next, but we should have been proactive in doing things in Maribel to make sure that there's more community policing, more programs that we can get people involved to understand that you have to have unity in the community. And it takes people like Sunny Slope Block Watch. I'm a part of the East Sunny Slope Block Watch, and our community is active, we're strong, and we have the availability to talk with the city as well. And it definitely deters crime in a Sunny Slope area. And when you show community involvement and you can't come together, that when you implement strong block watch communities, you can make a difference. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you.
This year, the Phoenix City Council approved a civilian review board for the Phoenix Police Department. Do you support civilian oversight of law enforcement? And if so, should there be limits to the board's power?
The answer is yes. There needs to be a civilian review board. Like I've mentioned earlier, Phoenix is playing catch up. Mayor Gallego and her administration are playing catch up, but she's been a part of city council. These things should have been in play here. It amazes me that now, I think like if George Floyd hadn't been killed, if Deion Johnson locally, Ryan Whitaker, Jay Garcia, if these people had not been killed, this conversation may not even be taking place right now. We wouldn't even be talking about an Office of Accountability and Transparency or a civilian review board. It would just be continue to be swept under the rug like it's been for so many years before. We're barely implementing body cameras. Body cams have been around for years, and in 2018-19, it was just voted on to become standard of the Phoenix Police Department. It's time not to play catch up, but to be proactive. But as far as the civilian review board, I know one of the hot topics this past week was having police officers on, or if they having activists or they having protesters involved. And I know the city council had agreed to listen to the different people in the community about who can be participating. And once they, I guess, had come to an agreement, city council had flipped the whole policy or the proposal and started including different things that the people hadn't really agreed to. I do believe the civilian review board, though, is key. It's necessary because you have members of the community, business leaders that know their areas, that know the city, that can contribute positively to find the solutions that we're going to rebuild that trust, build that trust, and find the solutions that we need with law enforcement and the community. I don't know how the debate, we can kind of talk about this in the debate rules, but are we allowed, since the other candidates aren't here, can we kind of have a discussion on that, or how exactly can that work?
What would you like to say?
So I think I think we kind of agree, but we disagree on who can be in part of the board and kind of restructuring it. One thing, you said, hey, police, they don't want to be told what to do by civilians. But at the same time, we're the taxpayers. We're the employers. It's our money that goes towards funding police departments. And they're paid to protect and serve. And let me put this out there. I support law enforcement. I support first responders. I just think there has to be a checks and balance. We have it in the three branches of the government. Life is about checks and balances. At every company, you can't just do everything and have your own people kind of investigate. It just looks wrong. It's a conflict of interest. And I believe that when you have police kind of policing police, that's where some people that they have a problem with that. So maybe do we have, and this is just a question, do we have officers that are former Phoenix police, or do we have someone, if you came from Dallas or you came from Los Angeles, how do we determine those officers that would be a part of the board? What separates them to say, hey, these officers are good, and then this person's retired, they can be on the board? Or like, how do we choose which officers that would be a part of your policy? So in my conversation with Sheriff Pinzon, we talked about, we talked about accountability and transparency. I said we need to take it a step further for consistency, accountability and transparency, the CAT model. And I believe until you have that as the culture in any police department, then it's kind of, we're going in circles. Because I think what people have a problem with is, and this is before it even gets to the Civilian Review Board, is that there's an inconsistency against sometimes when people are pulled over for here, or this person may be approached this way, just for being a 911 call when they actually needed help. And I think we have to have consistency on the way that people are pulled over, or on the way that they're responding to calls, because we do see inconsistencies between different communities. It is what it is. Some people will say no, some people will say yes. It is what it is. And until we get that consistency away about the way the law is applied to all of us, then I think having sometimes the review boards and police and all this, it just keeps going this same circle over and over and over.
If you are the mayor of a city and you have a child, I'm gonna make the statement first, that you feel uncomfortable sending to a school in your city, you have already failed. So my question to you is, education in Phoenix is at an all-time low, in Arizona in general, but I want our city to lead us out of this hole. 49th in education, 50th in quality. Do you have a plan to help the city of Phoenix lead the rest of the state out of this terrible hole?
I actually take this question personally because both my parents retired from education. So from an early age, I know what it's like. I knew what it's like to help my mom do drawings on an overhead projector so she can have supplies to actually teach students. I understood that at an early age. My father was a football coach. He got his MBA, got his master's degree, assistant principal at a school. They both put their time in education. And one thing that I want to focus on as mayor of Phoenix is, like Tim said, there's some things that are at the state level. We have to champion our kids, though, and advocate for a better education. My job as mayor, though, will be to make sure that every child has access to the education. They have Wi-Fi. There's still cities, there's still communities, neighborhoods around the city that don't have Wi-Fi. You look at Rio Rancho, New Mexico, when I was there in the mid-2000s, they had a whole city of Wi-Fi. And I think we can implement that in parts of Phoenix, that we can provide free Wi-Fi, not just at public libraries, but actual whole parts of the city. It's 2020. We're still talking about Wi-Fi access and kids having equal opportunity to get an education. Millennials, let me just say this real quick. I know it's time, but millennials, you have to understand now, born in 1980, they have children. Millennials have grown up. Gen Z now are young adults. Some people voting for the first time this election, and now they have kids. Some millennials have grandkids, and we're still talking about the same things, getting equal access to these opportunities. We're not going to stand by and let the kids suffer and their education suffer anymore. It's time to be proactive. Give the kids resources, laptops, whatever they need to be successful, at least the opportunity to get the resources.
We know that we have lost many, many jobs in Phoenix due to this pandemic. There's plans to, and there's talks of bringing them back. But you guys have as a plan, a specific plan as mayors, how to bring those jobs back and quick to Phoenix?
Go first, Nate? Okay, sure. Part of my plan, and thanks for the question, is when you see Carmona or It's Time Phoenix, and you'll see my signs, it says families first, it says safer streets, it says smarter city. And I believe with jobs and creation, it falls under smarter city, whether it's building better infrastructure, smarter infrastructure, but also when you think about smarter city, it's creating different ways to create the opportunities for these businesses, not just small businesses, but we have to offer incentives for other companies to come in as well that can hire hundreds and thousands of people as well. So we have to look at whether it's different incentives or entitlements, different breaks, some things to help and encourage the bigger or business to come here. But at the same time, we have to offer more help to small businesses and really champion, because there is a lot of street vendors, food trucks. The local market here, the local culture is really starting to pick up. And it's unfortunate what happened in Mesa. My condolences to the family and people affected at the shooting on Friday. But that community has really grown. And I think when you champion those people, small business, local business, and create and encourage all growth to create jobs, because the two gentlemen here are job creators. We have small businesses, we have nonprofits, and we're able to create employment and jobs. And I think it's unfortunate that Kate Gallego and Merissa Hamilton are not here, because maybe they can't speak on that. And I think it's uncomfortable for them to have that discussion. But definitely champion and encourage more business and opportunity grants.
Voters are deciding on the future of marijuana in our state. Do you support or oppose to Proposition 207, and why?
Again, I think this is an important question, because this was on the ballot in 2016 and it failed. So to bring it again in 2020 means that it's time to look at the way we view marijuana use, recreational or medicinal. And we have the research, there's the science. So if you've gone to Portland, and I know we say, hey, we don't want to turn Phoenix to another Portland. Yeah, but you look at Denver and the way that they're using kind of some of the funds that is helping create money for the local government. But let's talk about the money aspect of Prop 207. So the 16% rate, that's for anyone that chooses to purchase marijuana. You get up to 1 ounce. If you get caught with 1 ounce to 2.5 ounces, it becomes a petty misdemeanor. It's the ability to go back and expunge for any previous offenses with marijuana use or marijuana possession. And I think that starts in July of 2021. So again, I'm going to say yes on Prop 207. I think this could be a way to generate more funds that maybe, because in the bill it does, or in the proposition it does say that it goes for more programs. It does fund with first responders, police, fire department as well, and schools, and also helps funding community colleges that may not get the funds or the monies from anywhere else. So
Thank you.
I would say yes.
Thank you.
I have a question as we near the end of this debate. Should you be elected, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing Phoenix in 2021?
2021, I know a lot of people think that COVID-19 is just automatically going to disappear and can't wait to get out of 2020. Thank God it's behind us. But COVID-19 will be here in 2021. And I think what we have to do is figure out how to really, like we talked about earlier, move forward, find options how to keep people safe and healthy, put those plays intact. Also, we have to figure out how to continue to, like I talked about earlier, encourage small businesses and local businesses to grow, offer opportunities, grants, and grants. And when I say opportunities that are actually attainable, not a lot of hoops, not a lot of, hey, well, you can have this, but you got to go through this first. You got to go through that, because that discourages people. And then they end up not getting the help that they need. And now you have a situation we're in right now where I believe there's almost $30 million that the city is just trying to give out now, which is why they're revising the eligibility criteria to get that money out, which should have been out to people. And now families have had to take their whole life savings that they saved up, mom and pops, and they've had to shut down those restaurants. So we got to get those people back running, encourage them, and also safety and rebuilding trust between the community and between the police, law enforcement, and really finding that unity and working together and acting on those solutions.
We received a question through our live stream, and I want to address it to both of you. It comes from a Victor Gomez. Thank you for watching. He says, it seems like what you're saying, and this is in reference to some of the earlier comments, is very similar to what the current mayor is doing. What differentiates you from Mayor Gallego?
I'm here. Where's Mayor Gallego? That's the simplest answer I can give. I'm here. You know, the moderators, the media partners here today are a reflection of this city. Looking at the campaign, my signs are in English and in Spanish. The only candidate for mayor, and I believe there's only one other sign that I've seen in Spanish during this campaign. I understand that 42% of Phoenicians or Arizonans speak Spanish, whether it's their first language, second language, or possibly third. Where's our mayor? I'm here. Where's Merissa Hamilton? I'm here. They both had opportunities to speak to a different audience the people that matter, voters in different communities that they're not reaching. But it just shows it's disrespectful for them to not pay attention and to not talk to the media partners like Campesina, Telemundo Arizona, Power 98.3, and Riviera Broadcasting. That's the difference. I'm here.
Since we do have time at the end, I wanted to give each of you 2 minutes for some closing arguments, your final pitch, your plea to the voters of the city of Phoenix. Since Mr. Seay went first with his introduction,
Okay.
I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
With your closing argument.
Sure. Again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching. I just really want to let the people know, let you know that, and I mentioned earlier, our generation, we're not going to fall for the old politics. Those ways are tired. They frankly haven't worked for so many years. I think it's time for diversity. It is time for inclusion, as I mentioned earlier. I also want to say that running as an independent candidate, I don't have any party affiliation. The mayor's office is nonpartisan. However, we've seen clear donations, clear endorsements for the Democrat candidate. And on the Republican side, Merissa Hamilton, you've seen clear donations from that campaign, PACs, and other support. I think in order to be a true nonpartisan office, we have to eliminate and we have to look at the way that campaign financing to where you have a candidate that is endorsed highly by one party, accepts all the money from one party. We see where their intentions lie. Same thing with Merissa Hamilton. I don't even know if she has a platform. I don't even know what her agenda is besides I love police and Trump. I don't know. So I think it's important that we get to the issues, we have plans, we talk with people, not just to people. We understand the community, we have real leadership, and when it show up when it actually counts, not avoid the conversation. You know, the reason I'm running, and it's because of Mayor Gallego's lack of response. I invited her on Power 98.3, the Crisco Kid Block Party, so did Oh Jesus at nighttime to have a conversation. She bailed out, not once, but multiple times, tried to reschedule. We weren't a priority. Talking to our audience and our people wasn't a priority. Her lack of leadership in COVID-19 is another reason that I was like, you know, enough is enough. Our business didn't get the help we needed, and I know other Phoenicians are going through my struggle as well. As far as Merissa Hamilton, how can you talk about small businesses encouraging growth when you don't own any? You don't know what it's like. How can you talk about family values? I'm the only candidate that has families first in my platform. And whether you have kids or not, look, and with the family dynamic, I don't care if it's man, woman, woman. I want to champion stronger families and get back to the programs and offer help that we need to build a stronger Phoenix. I'm all about helping hands, like to help up, not just handouts. A stronger people, a stronger community means a stronger Phoenix, and it's time, Phoenix. Thank you.